Welcome back, guys. My name is Austin from awfulmedia.com, and this is part 7 of the Making a Simple Game in Unity tutorial series. Now, in this part, we're going to be fixing another thing or two, and then we're going to be doing some coins in the world, and then starting a win screen, like whenever you finish the level, will pop up a menu inside or on the screen here, and then it will tell you your score, your time, and maybe your previous time or something like that. So you would be able to determine how you did compared to your last run through, or something silly, but we'll see how that will go. But first, what I want to do is, in our game manager, before we had all this stuff static, right? And I said, well, if we run into something where it doesn't make sense, and then we'll change that. But now we're just kind of going to be getting into some issues when we want to add a few more things into complete level here. Things that don't need to be static, really, but will have to be static as the method itself is static. And if it wasn't, if properties inside of that method weren't static, it wouldn't make sense. So we're going to make all of these things not static, make them, I guess, dynamic, and then just grab a reference to that said object, which would be the game manager, inside of our player movement, so that when we call this method right here, we have a reference to the game manager, and it's not just a static class or a static method, so we can't just go through the class that way. So we're going to do that now. Make all these variables not static, so just erase that static there, make them just like a normal variable, and then on the method, also remove that. Now that's going to throw some errors, as it should, and you'll see right here, an object reference is required to access non-static member game manager.complete level. So you're likely to run into that error quite a bit. And so what we're going to do to fix that is I'm going to set up, let's do something here. And we'll just grab it after. Well, we kind of need it before in the player movement, though, not in that. It'll be the first thing in our list. So I'm going to set up a public game manager, as that is the name of the class that we're going to be finding here. And so I'm going to call this manager. The same way that we set the spawn to equal something and start here, we're going to set the manager to equal something at start as well. The manager is going to be equal to manager.getComponent. Now, why is that? Well, that's because we're going to be dragging and dropping the object that contains the game manager class into the inspector, right? So let me just show you really quickly. I'll comment this out so we don't get any errors. And I'll go to Unity here. The error should go away for us. No, not that error. We ain't fixed that part yet. But what we're going to be doing is on the player, we have the player movement right there. Now I do need to get rid of that error so we can actually get it to compile for us. So I'll come down here and I'll just comment this out. So this will actually compile so you can see what's going on. Now we have over here manager, and then the game manager type is looking for, and we can drag the object that contains a component of that type. In this case, that component would be the game manager class. But then all we have is a reference to that object. We don't have a reference to that specific component. We just have a reference to this object. This object contains a transform, a game manager. Anything else we want to add to it, we can add any other component to it we want to, and it will contain that component as well. So it needs to know what we're actually looking for. And the way we can do that is I can set the manager to actually equal manager.getComponent, and then grab that specific component off of that manager. Notice we're going through manager. That's because the component that we're wanting to grab is on the manager. So we're saying it's on the manager. The component I know is directly on the manager object. Then I'm going to go down from that, grab the component. Inside of these brackets, I'm going to set the component type that I'm looking for. The component type that I'm looking for is, again, game manager. And then do your little parentheses just like that, as that would be a method. The get component is a method that is a perimeterless method, so we don't have to pass any parameters through that. But the type is game manager. It's going to grab the component, store that in manager. So now manager actually contains a reference to game manager, the component, and not game manager, the object. Now down here where we were accessing the game manager complete level method for when we actually finish a level, we will change game manager to manager, as manager now is the reference and we're not going straight through the type or straight through the class. Now that error should not pop up for us, and if it doesn't, that'd be awesome. So now I'm going to go back through this level and try not to die from these spikes. And when I finish the level, notice it still finishes the level and then completely explodes. It completely explodes. So is that because on our other levels we don't have it? Yeah. I'm going to just take this level, which is what is the difference? What is the difference? I want to save that level. Yeah, we just, yeah. So I'm going to just delete these. And then I have level 1 here. And I can just hit Control D on level 1 and create level 2. Hit Control D on that and create level 3. Go back to my build settings. And they are still there because I didn't change the name of them. Click play. And now let's see if it's any better. It's not. What level am I on there? I'm playing level 1. Let's run through here. Okay, so the timer isn't resetting once you complete a level, and that will be kind of important for us. So notice when we go back to the home menu, the timer's still there. And when we go to the home menu, which is when our time runs out, we don't want our timer to still be there. The timer should go away. And what we're doing though is on the game manager, which is what contains the timer, we're saying don't destroy this when you load a new level. Keep this object around when you load a level. And the way we can fix that, well, not really fix that, as that's not an issue, it's working as it should. But what we can do is when we do go to the main menu, which isn't that, and we do go to the main menu, we can just destroy this game object. Now this is what we'll do for now. When we work on the actual windscreen, we may pop up the windscreen, keep the timer there, and then when we click whatever, the timer will go away. Or when we lose, show like the windscreen and then click exit and take you to the home menu or something like that. And then when we do that, we'll destroy the object then, because you don't want to destroy the object before the level's actually over. But at the moment, the level is over for us whenever the time hits 0. So that should work for us when we're out of time. So I'm going to click play, let my time run out slowly. Give it a few more seconds. Okay, and he goes home and my timer's gone. That's great. But now when I go to the next level, as you saw earlier, but I want to do it again just to get a better idea of actually what's happening here. If I go into there, notice the previous timer's still there and the new timer shows up. And that's fine. That's not exactly what we want to happen though. We want to go, let's see, I've not actually thought this one through yet, so let's just see what happens when we give it a go. What we can do when you restart the level is set the start time to no, we just simply don't need more than one object. And on each level we're adding a new object. But then we do need a new object though, so we can actually set the time individually for each level. That's good. That's a good question. How do we do the level has to carry over? Maybe do we save the level and then come back in and load the level when we go to a new scene? That's completely stupid though. So what we could do, let's see, since we are not destroying the game manager object when we go to the next level, we have 2 game manager objects in the next level, and if we were to complete that level before the next one runs out of time, then we would have 3. So each level would not have the game manager. Just the first level has a game manager object, and then you could just carry that over, but then you have to reset the time to the new level time. But each level is going to have a different time, so we have to set up a way to set the time for the next level in each level. How's that sound? Could do that. But no, then we wouldn't have access. Say in level 2, the game manager wouldn't exist. So then we wouldn't have access to change that level. What we could do, I guess, I don't know. I guess the game manager just won't persist through levels, and then we can save the level that we just completed and load the level after that. So keep the game manager not persistent. So I will get rid of this. Right, and what that's going to do though is, since we are carrying the level number through the game manager, and the game manager is now getting destroyed by bidding a level. See, it appears that it works, and it does, right? But we're going to have some issues when we want to carry over score and stuff like that. So the way we can do that is actually save the score into what's called the player prefs. So the way we can do that is going through the player prefs. Now the player prefs is a preference file that's on the player's hard drive. So it's in the hard disk somewhere, wherever the game's installed, or even if the game's not installed, you're running it from a web player. The Unity player will generate a player prefs file along with a few more things. So what we can do is, for data that needs to persist or always be there, say when the game's turned off and the computer's shut down and you come back and want to play some more, for data that wants to always be there, you have to save the data, right? You know what a save is. Whenever you save in a game, it just saves your current state to somewhere on your hard drive, and you boot the game up later, you play, and it brings that information in. So we're going to do something like that on a very simple level though, because all we have to do is save our current level and our current score. So to do that, now I don't need to destroy the game object anymore because it is not persisting through levels. But to save our level, I'm going to go to where we go to the next level. And before we do a load level, before we even add current level, we'll save. When you finish the level, we'll save that you're on the next level. So we're going to go through the player prefs class, just like that. Player prefs dot, and now we can set a float, set an int, set different properties here. And when you do that, you set them with like an identifier, and then you have a key or something, right? So you have, in our case, we would have set int, and notice it says you have a key and a value. So I could set a key, which will be the identifier for this particular space in memory. Think of it like that. There's a space in memory that contains this name, and that name will relate to this value. So this one will say level completed. It's a string, so you can have spaces or whatever. So level completed is going to be the name of this save location, this little spot in this save file. Then the value is going to be the current level. So we're saving the current level, which is an integer, I am pretty sure, integer, and we're saving it as level completed in current level. Now we can actually come back in later and go through the player prefs. Now this is saved on the system, so unless they uninstall the game or wipe these files for whatever reason, these will always be there. Then we could do a get int. We could look for the level completed. That's all we need. So now get int will return the value that current level was saved to as. Okay, so that's pretty important to understand. If you're working with anything, most of the time you're going to have a save system. It may not be so simple that you go through player prefs, but I mean, player prefs, you can do a lot of stuff with it, right? You can save it a lot of stuff, and it will work for a lot of games that you're going to be working on for a while. In the future, you may look for something a bit more advanced, maybe saving to an XML file, but those kind of saves are still very vulnerable to modifications from the user. Player prefs isn't it's not hack proof. They can come in and change some values if they know what they're doing, if they know what they're looking for. But for our simple game, I don't care if the player comes in and says he's on level 99. That doesn't bother me. I mean, he ruined the game for himself by not playing level 99, and that's his issue. You can get better things in the future. I use a plugin, an asset called Easy Save 2, right? And I love this. It makes saving anything you want to save, any data type, really, is super easy to save, and it's just so much better than the going straight through the player prefs yourself. It takes care of a lot of stuff for you. But for now, this is going to work for us. We're going to save it to level completed and then load the level. So at the beginning in start, I can say, what was it? Current level. Yeah, we'll do current level equals player prefs dot get int, just like we copied that. I copied that from where I had it wrote right here. So now at the beginning of each level, it will go to your player prefs and check to see if that exists. Well, let's check to see if it exists first. If it's greater than 0, if it's not 0, it's low level 0 anyway, so that wouldn't really matter. So if it's greater than 0, set your current level to equal that. Else, we'll set current level to equal 0. Now that may sound redundant, as obviously if it does get here, then it is 0. Might be less than 0, who knows, but it's not going to be because we have control over that ourselves. But current level is going to be set to 0, and now I'm not sure that's going to be exactly how we want to do that, but my mind is telling me at the moment that'll be fine. So now if I was to hit Control S, come back in here, you won't notice a difference though because it was working before, but there would be a difference if we were to do something a bit different. But now we want to also save when we complete a level. We want to save level time or completed level. How do we want to do this? We'll do level. We can tack on the current level. So we'll say level, then space, and then concatenate, which we've done before, which is going to be just adding on to the string current level. And we're going to convert this to a string, and we can do that through a method just like that. That will turn current level into its string format, so we can read that and add that to our level. So now it's going to be setting the int called level, whatever level we're currently on, current level or score. We want to add plus concatenate space score. This might make more sense here in a second. And then I can say current score. And then we can also load up our last score, which would be this score here next time we come through. Then we can compare the two and see how we did. If it's better than the last score, save that score, and then your new high score becomes that score. Now, I've not wrote any of this yet, so I'm just going off what I'm thinking is going to work for us at the moment, and it very well may not. So the current score is that. We also don't need to save the current time. We'll just restart the time each level because that doesn't really matter too much. No errors, that's great. So game manager, now everything should be fine, I believe. Pretty sure everything should be fine. If I go through here, go boom, yeah, it goes to the next level. And I'm assuming this is level 2. We have to just assume this is level 2. And this is level 3. And by completing this level, it says you win in the console. I think that's what we have it set up to do. Yeah, you win. So that's correct. So then the time ran out and I went home. But now it should have loaded all those levels or saved all those levels to our player prefs. And if it did that, then what we can do now is, had we not completed that, we could have came through and done some stuff to figure out what level we were on. So on level 3, just to test that this is working, I'm going to level 3. Now I'm at level 3, and I'm going to delete this wall. That sounds stupid, but I'm going to do that. Hit Control S, and I'm going to duplicate level 3 into level 4, load level 4, go to build settings, add current, so we have a level 4 there. Now our menu, needs to be up here. Like that. And then we'll start the count on, let's always make our menu last. We'll always make our menu last. So then what I can do is come in here and check to see if we're on level 3 or not, or level 4 as it starts at 0. That would be good there. Now, when let's go to level 1. Or let's actually set this up so when I click play, it takes me to my last completed level. So we'll go to our main menu. I'll go to, again, I didn't plan all this out, so you're just seeing this going in real time here. I have absolutely no idea the direction this is going in, but we're just going around as I'm doing it as if I was actually making this game right now, and I think for some people that might be helpful. When we click the play button, we load level 0, right? And that's fine, but what we want to do is see if we can load player prefs. In the future, we'll have, or maybe right now, we'll have a restart level, or like a restart game, like a play new game, or like a new game button. And then we'll have a continue button, which is what this button is. But for now, we're just going to do it just like this. Load level, player prefs. We're looking for the, what was that called? I don't remember what that was called. Looking for level completed. So that should return the integer of the last level that we completed, which was level 3. So we're on level 4 then. So it should be loading level 4. That's why I created level 4, so we have something to load, assuming this works. If everything works like it should, level 4, load level, player prefs, dot get int. Kind of forgot the important part there. I should get rid of that. Now, level 4, is level 4 where I deleted that wall? Yeah, so now when I go to the main menu, just like this, I click play, we have start a play button, and that should take me to level 4. And it does. That is great. I was really hoping I didn't miss anything there. So that's how it should be. Now we have level 4 here, complete level 4, and it will say that we won. I don't want to complete level 4 though, because it can, I want to be able to have a level to go to from a save file. Notice that when we run out of time, we go to level 4, because level 4 is actually the correct location of our load level 3. Our menu now is level 4, so just keep that in mind. It's a very simple game, not much dynamic stuff going on, so you might have to change a few things from time to time, but playing from your last saved level is an awesome thing. But to set it up so you can start a new game, which is very important in games like this, because sometimes you don't want to continue where you were left off. You want to come back through and see if you can do them all better than you already had done them. So we'll just copy this play button, paste that right here, and I will follow these values, and then we'll change these values, or the offset on the Y there to the quit button, and then push the quit button down for, what was that offset? So this is 100, so 55. So we'll set this to 110, or 110, 210, 210, and then we'll load level 0. Okay, so now we have a restart button on the play menu. It'll say just play though, so I'll say this should be called new game and continue. But we won't continue to only exist if we've played the game before. So the way I can do that is I can say if player prefs dot get int level completed is greater than 0. So if we have saved something that actually matters, then we will show this button. Okay, and we should see that button, seeing as we have saved something. So there's continue. But if I click new game, and when I click new game, let's reset our player prefs to 0. That way we don't have when we come back, and the continue will be gone, as there's nowhere to go to unless we complete a level. So we'll set player prefs. We need to actually do a set int for this one. We'll go back over here and set the int to 0. So we're starting all over from the beginning. Let's do this before the load level though. And make sure you have a semicolon. Don't know where that went. And I'll click play from here. Now when I click continue, it takes me to level 4, as that is the last saved location. Click play again and click new game. Takes me to level 1. I come back here, and now if I'm not mistaken, continue should be gone. The continue is now gone, and new game exists. So if I click new game though, and I come through here and go up here and come down here and walk in there, now I'm on level 2. Stop, click play, continue is there now. So you can click continue and go to level 2. Look at that. Look at that. That is so cool. So that is a very basic save system, which was not even planned for this video. I just did that because of that game manager not persisting issue. So that should do the level system for us, and that's great. In the future, we're going to be doing a level select, so you can come back through and play old levels without starting all over. But now, the point of this video was a coin system in the world. So we're going to do that really quickly, as it's not very complicated, and we use a lot of time on that save system. I'm going to go game object, create other, and I'm going to create a cube. Our coins are going to be cubes, because that is hip. Make this 0.25. We're going to create a material for this. Right click, create a new material. This material is going to be the obvious golden material. Just going to drag this onto that object, and that looks horrible in this environment. Something like that, maybe. And now we have our coin. The coin's going to be smaller than that, though, so we're going to make this actually a 0.5. So we have our coin that is now 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. Okay, that's great. Now let's go ahead and save this. Actually, it has a box collider. It needs to be a trigger, so we can actually walk through them when we collect them. And the material's fine. Let's name that material to token. And we'll name this object to token. And we'll create an empty game object for a folder here. We have map of tokens. So it goes to the top there. And we can store all tokens inside of that. But token, I want to be a prefab. So go to objects, go to prefabs. That way we can have just drag and drop from here and just drop them out in the world just like that. And we have tokens. So now we have token as a prefab. If we were to drag that out into the world, centers at 0. So I'll do a point. Actually, we can do a 0.25 on the actual token here. 0.25, 0, 0. And then when we drag, let's get rid of this token, drag this out here, this will all be in the tokens directory. If I were to 0 this out, it's now where that tokens is here. And I can drag this throughout the world anywhere I want to. And I want this token to be first level, so let's make it kind of simple. I'll place the token right about here, and we're going to be doing the same thing with, even these out. So that'd be 730, and I can duplicate that token with it selected, duplicate it, and we'll drag one to this corner here, which would be -2 and 6. We have one in that corner. Now when I click play, you can see how that looks in the world. There's token there, token there. The token on the bottom is a bit too far down, so we'll drag this up, make this 4 point. No, we'll do 5. We'll do 5, just like that. Now I'm gonna click play. You can see the token there and see the token there. That's great. Now I want to add a tag to these. We'll go add tag. Call these token. That way we can detect when we run into individual tokens. Select both of these. Make sure we add these to the token. I'm going to want to add this to the prefab as well. So all prefabs also share the token tag. So I'll click apply on the prefab, and that's great. So now we're going to detect this collision the same way we were before, which is in our player movement class, which is a bit weird it's there, but that's where it is. So we're going to be doing that. Open up player movement, go to on collision with a trigger, so on trigger enter, and then we're going to be detecting going to be detecting a collision with a tag of token. And then when that happens, I want to go through the game manager, and we're going to access an add token method, something like that. Go to the game manager, it will create that method. So we have a complete level method here. I'm going to do an add token method. And when you do the add token, I want to set the we have current score, high score. Let's set a public int of token count. we'll take the token count, and when we do this, we'll take token count plus equals 1. So we'll add 1 to the current count of token count. And we'll play a sound in the future, but I'm not going to set that up right now because I don't even have a sound prepared for that. So we have token count plus equals 1, and then we can actually set up a way to detect all the tokens available, and then have like we have 1 out of 2 kind of system. So the way we can do that is, what is that method I'm trying to think of? Count children. We'll grab a reference to the parent for tokens. We want the token count to be dynamic, so we don't have to each level go through, count how many tokens we placed, and then add those tokens to the total token count. So we have token count, and then we'll have this is going to be a private int for total token count. So we want to now go into the start. Well, we want to grab a reference as well. So what are we doing? Let's go ahead and do something like this. Some kind of count here. So that's count. Current level, let's count, let's count, and timer variables, and then GUI skin, and this is also a timer variable, so we can put this under our timer section there. The references, and under references, where we'll set up all the references we need for Game Manager. And this reference is going to be to the token parent. So I'm going to do a public token, public game object as token. The parent to tokens is a game object. Set this to token parent. Something interesting like that, right? And now go to our. Oh, I have an error. Yeah, I know it's required. Let me go ahead and get rid of that for now. Oh wait, no, I don't need to do that. I need to go through manager. I already have that set up. So manager.addToken, not game manager.addToken. That was my mistake. So now I want to grab the tokens parent. So we'll go to the player, and it's looking for, no, player's not game manager yet. Looking for a game object there. I'll drag that to that, and I'm pretty sure the method I'm looking for is something like, go to game manager, go to start, and say total token count is equal to token parent dot count transform dot children. Yeah, child count. We'll go through the transform component to the child count. Let's make sure what child count was giving us there. So the transform dot child count. It's just an integer, so that's great. And I'll say that is that. Now to go through the token parent, which we have a reference to as this right here. Find all the children and count how many children there actually are inside of the token's parent. And as long as we store all of our tokens inside of that parent, it should give us the count that we need. And then we can use that for our GUI display. And then when we check to see if our total token count is equal to the current token count, we know that we got all the tokens. And for whatever reason, I have no idea, just a way to introduce different game mechanics to you guys. Not very useful for this kind of game, I don't really guess, but this is what we're going to be doing with it. So I'm going to be saying down here, we're going to be creating another GUI label. I'll just take that. And this one we'll just be creating our own rect for now because I don't feel like doing all that stuff. So I'll do a rect and then set this to something. And we'll do 45, 100, 200, 200. I have no idea what I'm looking for right now. Don't need a custom skin for this, as we're just going to do this as it is for now. Trying to get this done. And I'm going to say current, or not current, total token count. So now I'm just going to be able to see what the total token count is. It needs a string. I know. Okay, sorry, I didn't convert that to a string. So I'll say .toString. Convert that to a string, and then that should be okay. Click play. Now we should see 2, and we do. That's great. So if I was to add more to this, hit Control D on that. Hit Control D on that. Drag another one over here somewhere. Click play. It should now count 3, and it does. So that's what we want. We want to hit delete on that. And now we want to see if when we get a token, add 1 to the token count. which we are. And when we do that, I want to actually remove the token that we hit. So how do we do that? I want to say manager.add token and then do an other.gameObject. Or no, we can just do a destroy. Do a destroy object. So we want to get rid of this object, get it out of the world once we run into it. So when we run into that token no longer should exist. So we destroy that token, get it out of the game world, and then we cannot collect that one token anymore. So I'm going to destroy and then do other and go through and grab the game object just like that. So other is the object that we collided with. .gameObject is the parameter that destroy requires. And we're not going to have a time value for this. We could do a comma like 4F, and after 4 seconds it would destroy it, but we don't want that. So now when I run into this, you won't see the token count going up there because it's not there, but when I hit this, it disappears. And that's exactly what we want. To show you that one more time, whenever you collide with this token, if I just touch this token, it vanishes. Notice the count, though, does not change as that count is done at the start. So now I want to show the amount of tokens that we have out of the total amount of tokens that exist. So I can do that by going right here, and I'll paste another one here. This one's called the token count .toString, and I'll add a concatenation here with the plus sign, add a couple parentheses or a couple quotation marks. So what I'm doing now is I have the token count .toString, and then I want to add a slash in between these two strings. So I'm concatenating a string value with a slash inside of it, and then after that adding on the total amount of tokens available. So if I hit play, it should start out with 0 out of 2. So 0 out of 2. It's not aligned or anything, it's way off. But I want to run into this now. Notice 1 out of 2. Hit this one, 2 out of 2. So when I hit 2 out of 2 though, we want to make sure that we know we hit 2 out of 2. And the way we'll probably do that in the future is like play a little like or something, that you got all the tokens. And that would be fine. That would be great. And at the end of the game, we'll go through and make sure they got all the tokens. If they did, then we'll give them a bonus or something because they went out of their way to collect all the tokens. And that's the name of the game, right? Just have fun. Not very fun, but it will be fun, I hope. And that was a good video, right? We learned quite a bit. We went over saving, which is a pretty complex thing compared to what we've been doing. It's actually very simple to do in Unity, at least on this basic level. We've not used the current string yet, but we will do that, and maybe in the next part. Then we'll start actually working on the windscreen. I know we said we do the windscreen in this part, but I had to do the player saving thing, and that just that took up a lot more time than I expected. I have no idea how long this video currently is. I don't want to know. Not bad, 43 minutes. I do sound there longer than that. So I think I am all finished here for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this part. Hope I got the saving thing covered enough so we can use it in the future a bit more and you'll understand what's going on, because that's kind of important for us, especially in a game like this where you're traveling through levels with a score and stuff. You want to be able to save your high score, save your best score, save the current level you're on, save that you've unlocked all these levels. That way when you can pick the game up later, you can just click continue and go to the level that you were on before. We'll have a display somewhere here that shows what the current level is. What is this? Oh, yeah, those don't exist. The token parent does not exist in this world, so you have to create that through these worlds as well, unless you just want to delete those levels and copy and paste once again. That'd be fine, considering they're all the same anyway. I am going to call that quits for today. I do hope you learned something. Please subscribe and like this video if you did like it. I wouldn't ask you to do that. I'm not going to ask you to do that unless you did like it. If you like the video, though, give it a like. If you didn't like it, you can just leave. That'd be fine. You don't have to leave a dislike. Those likes really do help. Follow me on Google Plus if you want to. Not very interesting there, but you'll be notified of videos and any updates to videos that I would like to post or anything like that. Anything related to anything that I do, I'll be posting on Google+. I do some Twitter stuff, not very much though, so don't even bother really. But thank you for watching. My name is Austin, and I will see you next time.